All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another Saturday Fun Fest here in the Paranormal Portal. We got a lot to get through tonight, of course. It is Saturday, and as such, we will be going into Chucky Danger's question of the week on our Discord server and digging into that. See what all of you guys had to say. If you didn't answer, there's still time. So if you haven't gotten over to Discord yet, please feel free. If you're not familiar with our Discord, the Paranormal Portal has a Discord. It's absolutely open and free to you all for you all to use. Just be mindful. It's a respectable community. Rachel Gets It Right has posted the Discord link in the chat on YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitter. I don't know if it goes everywhere else, but it's on the screen right there. Right, I'm almost pointing at it. Right over there. And you can certainly go to that discord.gg/paranormal portal, and that'll bring you to our Discord server. You can join and click on the question of the week on the left-hand margin, and you'll see the question, and you're welcome to weigh in. Just go make sure you're on the more recent one. I don't know if Chucky dates them or not. I'm not sure. Maybe we should. Maybe we should date the questions of the week. Question of the week and I think Chucky does, but I'm just kind of like going, hey, is that on there or not? I think it is. But anyway, everybody's welcome to weigh in with their thoughts on the phenomena. Hell, I don't know what all this stuff's about either. So there's no wrong answers. There's just ideas. And we're welcoming all of yours to help us maybe look at what's going on with some of the strangeness. So the question of the week is a question dealing with ghosts, UFOs, might be cryptozoology, might be strange phenomena, or anything else in between, or all of the above. So just check out those questions. Feel free to weigh in and let us know what you think. So we also are going to be getting to the news first. We're going to get to the news here briefly in a moment. Not too many moments anyway. I don't know. We'll get there as soon as we get there. Paranormal Nut Pod. Good to see you over there. My co-host is in Pennsylvania. Aw. Oh, very cool. Well, I'm glad you made it in here. I'm actually in the north tip of Idaho, but the Paranormal Nut Pod over on Rumble joined us, as did Barbara Mora on Car Juice so far. Great to have you guys here. But yeah, that's very cool. My co-host is in Pennsylvania. You know, tonight's co-host is usually Tex Wesson of Texas Front Porch YouTube channel, but he is actually in, I forget, is he in Alabama or Georgia or somewhere? He's over at a conference this weekend, so he's not here currently, but, we'll make it work. All the same, but it's good to see you all. Hello, Barry, over on Facebook. You're the first Facebook name I've seen tonight, although I could have missed some. I'm just scrolling up just to see. Looks like that's who was first over on Facebook, so good to see you. I know I see Owl13, Annie Manuel, I see T-Bone is on YouTube. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. Rachel Gets It Right, of course, one of our fearless mods here, as is Chucky Danger, and looking at potentially expanding to a few more. I know that I don't know if everybody's interested in being a mod, but it's something that really helps out, and you guys have done a wonderful job. And if you feel like you can be a part of that, let me know. I'm always open to having more mods. That certainly helps. But the mods we got are exceptional. So John Temperan's in the house too, as is Michelle Wolfong is here. Great to see you. Annie Manuel, I think I said hello to you already. Let's see, John Temperin, T-Bone. I'm saying the same things over and over. Deborah Neighbors, there we go. I'll get a new name here pretty soon. Owl13, excellent to see you as well. And I'm scrolling. Shelly Montgomery came in. Good to see you, Shelly. It's excellent to see you here. Well, it's Karen Alberting. How you doing, Karen? Did you get everything all settled? Are you active tonight or listening? And either or is fine. You don't have to chat to be a part of this community, but if you can, that's wonderful. Henry Dong's in here. Good to see you, Henry. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you coming by and checking out the Saturday show. I was almost said Friday show, but we did that last night, and you're not getting a rerun tonight. I'm just scrolling. Bill Simone's in here. Good to see you, Bill. Thank you for coming in, brother. He's hanging out, and as I said, Barry's over. Yeshua's Reloaded is here. Good to see you. Lurking, had surgery this week, still recovering. Oh, sending you love and healing, brother. I hope you're doing great. Of course, yeah. Old school Barry in the house. Well, yeah, I'm sorry you had surgery. Yeah, for sure. We're sending you prayers and love, brother. Hopefully you heal and bounce back quick. That's miserable. I've had a lot of those in my lifetime, and I'm actively trying never to have any more. And so far, so good. Knocking on wood. I see Dale Atkinson is here. Hello to you, Dale. Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. Great to have you here. And to any of you guys that are new, please feel free to subscribe if you like what you're seeing and you want to be a part of the community. We'd love to have you stick around and become part of the Portal people. We are Portal people in here, so that's good. Let's see, any other names? I think that's pretty much everybody. Mickey G came in. Good to see you, Mickey. Thank you so much for coming in. So, hi, Michael Driscoll. Father Mike is here. Good to see you, brother. Excellent to have you here. It's always good to have the official word on some of this stuff, especially when we're dealing with beliefs and understandings. You're right, Deborah Neighbor. The Ghost Radar is not on. Thank you. It's no wonder I need you people. I need you for a whole number of reasons, but it is what, the 7th today. So I'm going to start up the Ghost Radar here for June 7, 2025. Let's see if anybody swings by from the ethereal realm to watch the show. Everybody's welcome here as long as they're positive and good and mean us well. Nothing evil is welcome in the house here. So, all right. So anyway, I'm just thinking, is there anything else? I don't think so. The Goblin and Batman came in. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for coming in. And the more the merrier here in the portal. So remember, folks, please feel free to spread the word. Visit paranormalportal.net if you want more information about the Paranormal Portal. If you're new to it, just go to paranormalportal.net. It's one title, but it's two very different shows. Of course, these live streams are they're like paranormal variety shows where we deal with all the different topics: cryptozoology, UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena. And then there's the podcast, which is more interview based, where I welcome guests that want to come on and share their stories, or they could be authors, researchers, personalities. Some celebrity personalities as well have been on my show, and it's been wonderful to talk to all of you guys. So I am just about to wrap up season 6 here on the Paranormal Portal podcast, and then I'm probably going to take at least a couple weeks and not think about it. I'll probably still do interviews to publish later again when I start season 7. But each of my seasons on the Paranormal Portal is not like 10, 12 episodes. It's at least 52 or better. Season 1 was like 150 some episodes. And then after that, I did roughly around 60 episodes per season. So I'm more like the traditional like seasons. Like when I was growing up, a season of an episode of a show would take place throughout most of the year. And then there'd be like a summer break. And I was like, then something happened at some point in my growing up where they kind of changed what a season was. Then it went down to like 20 episodes, and then it went down to like 12 to 16. And that's where and some shows call a season 8 episodes. And it's like, what? So I treat the podcast much like the TV I loved growing up. And so it is a lot of episodes. If you're not familiar with the podcast, or if you've only listened to a little bit, there's a hell of a back catalog for you guys to check out. Some amazing discussions with some incredible people, and I've been honored to interview each one of them. So that is what the Paranormal Portal is. If you ever want to reach out to me, or if you have experiences of your own, you can go over to paranormalportal.net or email me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. And that is a great way for you to become a guest. If you go over to paranormalportal.net, there's a button that says interview me, and it launches my calendar app. And you can pick from dates and times that I've set aside for interviews. And if you feel you want to share your story to the podcast audience, I'd love to talk to you. So that's paranormalportal.net. Or you can email me, and then I'll tell you to go there anyway. But either way, emailing me is at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. I have had a couple people email me with their personal stories. It seems to me that they just wanted to share their story. They don't necessarily want to be a guest. That's, not everybody wants to be. That's a little intimidating for some. And I'm happy to narrate your stories if you have stories that you'd like to share. I like doing the listener email episodes where I highlight the listener stories that I've gotten. So if you got some stories you want to email me but don't want to be a guest in person, email me your stories and I'll read them for you. So that's always an option. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. I think that's a lot on the front end. Don't mean to bore you, but look at the links in the description, of course, for like cool gear if you want some. That sure goes a long way to help me out here, keeping the lights on and getting Daddy a new shirt himself. I always need more shirts. I've realized I've got shirts that are older than my kid, and he's just going to turn 10 in July, and I think that's kind of tragic. So anyway, I guess that's it on the front end. Let's get to the news, and then we'll dive into the question of the week and what the hell is that. I got a cool what the hell is that for you guys tonight, and this is one that it really kind of cooks my bacon. It's going to be kind of a longer one because there's a lot of material to go through and to discuss about it, but I think it's pretty fascinating, and I'm curious what you guys think of that. So we'll get into that. What the hell is that? Hi, Stacy Lynn. Good to see you. It's wonderful to have you stop by. It's great to see you. I've missed you. All right. Well, it's good to see all of you guys. Kitty Caddywhack came in as well. Excellent to have you here as well, Kitty. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. I don't think anybody else came over on Rumble, and I haven't seen anybody from Twitch or X pop into the chat, so I'm just scrolling up just to see. Thank you, Rachel, for posting those links as I'm doing explanations. I really appreciate it. So, yeah. All right, well, let's get to the news, and we'll start there and see where the hell we end up. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to get you informed, to bring you up to speed, and to hopefully entertain you a little bit. So, it's time for the news. So I don't think you guys hear the applause anymore on that, do you? Do you guys don't hear this when I'm launching the news rotation, or do you? Let me know if you do or not. I'm not sure that you do. Do you guys hear the applause? Maybe you don't. Nope. Stacy Lynn says nope. Okay, thank you. That's what I wondered, because I was like, I'm watching the meters as I transition, because I got to watch the volume and stuff of everything. You know, there's kind of a lot of juggling going on here behind the scenes. I've got 3 monitors in front of me with different aspects of the show going on them, and so I'm always watching and checking things. But then I was like, I don't know if they're hearing that applause like they used to. Okay. Nope. T-Bone says nope, and the Goblin says nope, and Bill Simone says nope. So there's a bunch of nopes. Okay. Thank you. That clears it up. So anyway, I guess we can dive into the news. Throughout the course of the show, ladies and gentlemen, I utilize a lot of different sites, and it's kind of my caveat at the beginning of every show, because it's so important to me that you guys support these sites, that you go visit them, go check them out. You guys are into this stuff clearly because you're watching a paranormal show, and these sites are representing paranormal information and articles in an incredible way. And your traffic does equal revenue for these sites. So please go visit them, help them keep the lights on, help them stay on so I can continue to utilize them. Because if these sites went away, I would be absolutely heartbroken. For instance, the site that we're going to dive into first off here on the portal, right here, and this is unexplained-mysteries.com, and it's an exceptional site. I really do love this site. They've done a hell of a job, and it's just top notch. I'm just so thrilled that I stumbled onto it somehow, and the information that they have on there, and the variety of topics is just incredible. So let's get to the first story here tonight on the Paranormal Portal News and check it out. That is this one. That's not really framed very well. I realize I got a discrepancy between when I do articles on the rest of the show versus when I do them here. Josh Casto gifting $5. God bless you. Oh, Batman gifting $5. You get one too. Thank you both. All right. So right away, ladies and gentlemen, Josh Casto, of course, he's been coming in here and reining in memberships forever. God bless you. I really love you, brother. Thank you. And Batman, thank you, man. That means the world to me. Love you too. I had to get a hair out of my eyeball. So Christine Baker got a membership. 3M Farm got one. Damian K, Sir Brian Bowden. I'm going to be on Brian Bowden's show, I think on the 18th of June, ladies and gentlemen. And then he's going to appear on the portal. So we're going to do a back-to-back.
Acoustic.
It said acoustic. What the hell does acoustic mean? I got an acoustic guitar just on the other side of this, on the other side of my camera. So it's sitting there right out in the open. Do you want me to play guitar? You seen a music show? I didn't even practice anything, so I think we're going to skip that part. But Brian Bowden, he's got a great show. Brian, please let people know what the name of your channel and your show is. And of course, watch my social media for links about that coming up on the 18th. I just wanted to plug that because I didn't know he was in here until right now. All right, Damian K got one, as did Amanda Lee. So wonderful. Congratulations to all of you guys. You are now honorary members of the Paranormal Portal channel for 1 month. And if you like it, if you love it, you can continue to support the show or just hang out, enjoy it for what it's worth for right now. You so far have earned emojis. I've tried to, I can't even say that correctly because it's not really true. I'm planning and have done member streams in the past. I do intend on making them a bi-weekly thing. I didn't do them last week because I've just been swamped with projects in my personal life. I just have literally been very reactive here. But I do plan on doing every other Tuesday, doing live streams for members only. And there'll be more relaxed and impromptu, just more conversations than actual material like we cover here. But certainly enjoy having your members here with me. And thank you to everybody. Batman, appreciate it. Another $2. Thank you, sir. Batman raising the ante he raises us too for a total of 7 in the pool now. Thank you so much. All right. So anyway, this is the first article and God, can you imagine a more perfect article for the Paranormal Portal? I don't think I can. This is from the Nature and Environment Files of Unexplained-Mysteries.com. That's a dash, Batman, not NAS. Just maybe I'm saying it too fast. All right, why have carnivorous plants never grown big enough to eat humans? Not why, thank God they haven't grown big enough to eat humans. Oh my God. Could you imagine? I mean, of course, there's been plenty of sci-fi and fiction works that show these, Venus flytraps about the size to eat a horse. And of course, people would inevitably end up in them. And it was horrible to envision as a child. I hated that. Bad Boy gifted $5. Oh my God, you guys. You guys are going to make me cry. Thank you, Bad Boy. You bring it. You guys are making it rain here. And Sharon Sunshine with 2. God bless you. You guys, I'm not even going to be able to get to the show. I'll just be sitting here hitting the applause all night. You guys are amazing. So Bad Boy gifted $5. Shelly Montgomery got 1. Beanie VR got 1. As did Ricker76er. Orville Nation got 1 and KDG. So congratulations to all you and a special thanks to Bad Boy. Man, you guys are so giving. I'm humbled. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. There's no crying in baseball. You're right. I didn't even cry. This ain't baseball, though. All right. It's more like bowling up in here. So, all right, let's check out this article and see why the hell plants haven't grown big enough to eat us, which is, again, a good thing. I don't think you look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak, but let's see what it says. Some plants have evolved the ability to trap and consume small animals, but their size has always been limited. That's where we insert the obligatory amen. Thank you, God. Anyone who's watched A Little Shop of Horrors will be familiar with the concept of a plant that's large enough to gobble up victims, human victims, but in the real world, even the largest carnivorous plants are only capable of trapping and consuming small animals, such as lizards and frogs. Oh, Batman, thank you. Gifted one on top of everything else. Judy Wheeler got one. Congratulations, Judy. You're now officially part of the tribe. So, not that you need to be a member to be part of the tribe, but I'm just saying, you belong now. To the memberships. So, there are many mechanisms used by these plants to trap their prey, ranging from sticky leaves to the Cape sundew plants to the famous trap-like leaves of the Venus flytrap. So, why is it that plants large enough to trap and consume human-sized animals have never emerged, even though carnivorous plants have existed for millions of years? One reason is that neither the energy nor structural requirements necessary to trap something that large are actually possible with plant physiology. Thank God. Amen. Furthermore, many carnivorous plants catch live prey to help compensate for the fact that they tend to live in swamps and other places with nutrient-poor soil. Scaling up to catch humans would require far more nutrients than they would ever have access to. On top of this, there's no real evolutionary pressure on these plants to grow to enormous sizes. Catching small animals and insects is sufficient for their needs, and the resources required to grow larger would outweigh the benefits that such a size would offer. In other words, we won't be seeing people being eaten by large, giant carnivorous plants anytime soon. Thank God, once again. I love that artwork. It's just like feet and legs sticking out of the plant. What a horrible thing. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember ever dying before. I've been close a bunch of times, but I can't imagine that would be much fun to realize I've now become food. That's a horrible thought. Horrible. So there you go. Nothing to worry about, folks. Thank God. I mean, there are legends of man eating plants, even in deep, dark Africa and such. There's kind of a crypto plant universe where it suggests there might be these plants out there that can eat people, but I guess nobody's reported on that. I wonder why. Maybe they didn't make it back. I'm just saying, I don't know. Oh, thank you, Shelley. My God. I'm just spamming the applause tonight, folks. That's very sweet, you guys. Thank you so much. So that's the first article. I learned something tonight. Maybe you guys did too. I don't know. But that's the kind of treasure in every segment of the Paranormal Portal news. Every segment brings this kind of value. Let's go to the next one. I'm just going to shift rather than cycle cameras. We're just going to shift to the next one here. This comes from the UFO Phenomena Files of Unexplained-Mysteries.com, the new Rendlesham UFO documentary to premiere at the film festival. So there, and I love these documentaries that kind of reassess and re-explore the phenomena, the occurrences that happened in the past. And I think it's kind of a ringer concept. Like, if you want to produce a successful song, one of the best things to do is just do a cover of somebody's successful music. And so, that's why there's, hundreds of versions of the Beatles songs out there that different bands have covered, because it's kind of a ringer move, right? It's like, well, we need a great song for this album. Let's cover, Let It Be. And sure enough, it's already a proven formula. Well, I think the same is probably true in some regards for these documentaries. It's like, well, we want to create a documentary that people are going to pay attention to. And rather than try to break new ground, a lot of times they just go and revisit the big ground that's already been broke. And it's not, generally speaking, most of these, I think they're wonderful, and I find every one of them informative because you learn something new on all of them. But it's not like they're bringing anything new to the table generally. It's just a re-examination of the stuff that's been examined before. And so it kind of sounds like I'm crapping on it and I apologize for that. That's not my intention, but I would love that these documentarians would break more new ground, bring more of the new stuff to us, or the lesser reported stuff. Like Rendlesham, there's thousands of articles out there. There's thousands of podcasts covering it. There's probably dozens of documentarian efforts towards that, much like Roswell, same kind of thing. So, but how about some of the lesser reported stuff? Go there, talk with the people that may have memory of some of these events, and let's bring more stuff to the table. So I hope that more crews will do that. But let's check out this article and see what it says. The new documentary will explore the true story behind Britain's most famous UFO incident. I don't know are the other stories not true? Is that the implication there? Entitled The Rendlesham UFO, The British Roswell, the film promises to unravel shocking new insights. I hope so. I really do. That'd be fantastic. Pertaining to this long-enduring case and to create a conversation about the mystery. It'll also feature exclusive interviews and brand new footage of mysterious phenomena at the forest. There's something unexplained there, and there are so many credible witnesses to the event, said Mark Lee, who co-directed the documentary alongside Roderick Goodman. There have been sightings of UFOs leading up to the 1980 sighting and going back in through the decades. Now, see, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Over on Rumble, Barbara. Hell no. I can have YouTube getting all the applause. She cannot have YouTube. Can't have. Gotcha. Well, thank you so much, Barbara. You're a sweetheart and a doll. Thank you so much. Narrated by William B. Davis, who famously played the secretive cigarette-smoking man in The X-Files, the documentary will premiere at the Raindance Film Festival in London on June 24th through the 25th. The Rendlesham incident itself, which occurred in December 80, I'm just going to say 80 rather than 1980, saw U.S. servicemen stationed at RAF Woodbridge in England witness a strange object over multiple nights. Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt and his men had gone out to investigate when the unidentified object was spotted descending into nearby woods. Our security team observed a light that looked like a large eye, red in color, moving through the trees, Holt recalled. Well, after a few minutes, this object began dripping something that looked like molten metal, and a short while later it broke into several smaller white-colored objects which flew away in all directions. In the years since, many have come to refer to the incident as Britain's Roswell, but not everyone subscribes to the belief that the Rendlesham UFO was extraterrestrial in origin. You can check out the trailer for the new documentary below, and I will put a link into the chats, and you guys can certainly observe that at your leisure. Or leisure, if you're from the U.S. It's at your leisure. Yes, darling. Okay, here we go. All right, it is in the chats as soon as I send it on Rumble. There we go. So that's the link if you guys want to check out this article and the included trailer for the documentary. I would play it, but it's most definitely going to have music on it, and it's going to spank any wish that I have to collect any kind of ad revenue here on the show. So I'm going to skip that, and we'll go with that. So we got one more to cover here tonight on the news, and by God, we're going to do it right now. I didn't even know this was a thing. I think I've heard of this long time ago. From the Science and Technology files, it's not too long. Could Turkmenistan's famous gateway to hell finally be closing? No, leave it open. That sounds great. Let's bring the kids. You want to go to see the gateway to hell, kids? Come on, summer. Yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, it looks fascinating. Honestly, it looks like a huge fire pit for sure. But let's see what it says. The fiery pit has been burning nonstop for over 50 years. Could finally see its flame extinguished. Oops, my eyes are flaking out here. Sorry. I was out in the sunshine with the minion earlier. All right. Located in Derwize Ahal province, the burning pit received its terrifying nickname due to its ominous appearance and because it's remained on fire for more than 50 years. It sounds like hell. Originally thought to be an oil field site, it's been speculated that the pit was opened by Soviet engineers after a drilling rig they set up collapsed into a large crater. Although it's proven a popular tourist attraction, concerns about toxic fumes from the pit prompted local authorities to begin efforts to extinguish the fire back in 2022. This week, Turkmenistan announced that it had succeeded in significantly reducing the inferno, whereas before, a huge glow from the blaze was visible from several kilometers away, hence the name Gateway to Hell. Today, only a faint source of combustion remains, said Irina Luryeva of state-owned energy company Turkmengaz. The effort involved drilling wells around the pit to capture and cut off the methane that was fueling it, and it is likely before too long the fire will disappear entirely, closing the gateway to hell for good. Well, can't have too much methane going up. Isn't that the whole cow fart argument? I mean, isn't that what it is? Cow methane is going to wreck the world. And I honestly don't think so. And I'm not trying to, cast aspersions at people that are worried about the environment. Of course, I am as well. But I think there's been some exceptionally bizarre claims made in response to being concerned about the environment. So anyway, there you go. I guess they're cutting it off. Now we're just going to have raw methane seeping from it. I don't know. Or they're capturing it to utilize it for energy production. Maybe. Hell, I don't know. Not sure. But there it is. And this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. And so I hope you feel informed. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And let's get back to the rest of the show. Yeah, Barbara said in Rumble, she said, I wanted to go see that, but that's okay if it's going out. Hey, Justin Good Earth popped in over on Rumble. Good to see you, brother. And Batman said, now it's not on fire, just venting toxic gases in epic proportions. Yeah, I don't think that having it burn off those things is necessarily bad, but again, I don't know how big this thing was. I'm sure it's a sizable hole. Maybe it's like a city block, maybe it's a little bigger, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure you're probably venting a hell of a lot more toxic gases from a volcano than you are from the gateway to hell. And they're killing some tourist revenue. So I don't know. I'll bet you it's, here's the thing. I'll bet you that's something like, since we're in the neighborhood, we should, it's like being on a road trip in the U.S. and seeing a sign for the world's biggest ball of yarn. It's like, oh, come on, kids, let's go see that. It's kind of here. You might as well check it out. I don't know that the gateway to hell is probably something that people jump on planes for, but it's probably one of those things that's, well, we're in the area, let's go see the gateway to hell. And it turns out, I bet you it's, you go there and you look at it like, wow, okay. It's a pit with fire in it. Gotcha. Where's the sandwich bar or whatever? I don't know. I mean, how long could you stare at that and go, wow, look at that. That's really something. I mean, I'd rather be in my backyard and looking at my fire pit, honestly, than sitting in a arid desert in the middle of maybe nowhere looking at a burning pit of ash and, I don't know, some form of coal or whatever. I don't know. Soil. Anyway, that's my take. So you probably just saved yourself a lot of money, Barbara, actually. But I wouldn't put it on your bucket list. I'm just saying. That's just me, though. Maybe it's enormous. Maybe it's like the size of a small city. I don't know how big this is. There's no scale that I can see. If anybody knows, feel free to put it in the chat. How big is it? Anyway, go during winter. Yeah, well, there you go. It might be nice and toasty. You could probably rig up a huge stick and get a marshmallow cooking in there. I don't know, s'mores all night long, I'm saying. Just going with the kids to the gateway to hell to make s'mores. Why not? Why not? Might as well. But that was the news. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of my journey through the news. We have got a lot more to get to still. There's always more to do here. John Stevenson popped in. Good to see you. We got the Johns represented now. The Batman said it's an ash hole. That is an ash hole. That was not even inappropriate, but it sounds inappropriate. That's the funny part of that. So anyway, very cool. Second thing, make a list. First thing on my bucket list, get a bucket. Yep, there you go. T-Bone rolling in with 5 more. God bless you. Dale Atkinson stopped in as well. Good to see you. T-Bone gifted 5. WLLC got 1. Is that a network? But welcome. WLLC, glad to have you here checking out the show. Diane Bowes got 1, received a membership. Dylan Dunker got 1, welcome. And Jimmy FSU got 1, as well as Rochunda Lee. So welcome all you guys. You are now honorary 1-month members to the Paranormal Portal, and God bless you. Thank you for being here. I think that's beautiful. You try. Batman says I try. You sure do. Every week you try, and you never disappoint, brother. Great to see you. Yeah, WLLC. That sounds interesting. It sounds like a channel. Feel free to email me in negotiations if something's cooking. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody wants me on their TV channel, but I'm happy to be here. All right, we're going to get to the next phase of our journey here tonight, which does involve our Discord and our wonderful friend, Mr. Chucky Danger, who is always on the ball creating a new question of the week 99% of the time. 99% of the time. And the question of the week is, again, it's just an opportunity to hear what you guys think about this strangeness that's in our world, whether it's ghostly, UFO, cryptozoological, or strange phenomena. There's lots of weird stuff happening. And there's a lot of ideas and theories about what it is we're seeing, what is going on with this strangeness. And while nobody knows, it is great to hear your thoughts, what you guys think might be the answers. And I do have to tell you that it's been a really cool experience for me personally, because you guys have brought up ideas that would have never, ever occurred to me. And it really gets me thinking, which is what this journey is about for me personally. I've had a lot of experiences. I want to understand what I looked at, what I observed, what the hell was going on. And I don't know. Again, lots of ideas, and anyone could be right. Hey, Werewolf, good to see you. Ike came in. Good to have you here, man. Thanks, all of you, for being here. I think I got a cat hair on my mic. It's poking me in the nose. Mr. Anubis has been hopping up on my lap a lot, and he sheds a lot. He's a short hair, but God, he spits off hair like crazy. A black cat, though, in the summer, of course. All right, well, let's get to this next segment, which I've been teasing now for a few minutes and have done nothing about. We're going to do something about it now. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on your screen is a representation of what I'm talking about here, and that is the question of the week. This is Discord, as you may or may not be familiar with. I will say this, if you're not familiar with Discord, it's a unique program, and it does look awkward. Like, how the hell do you use that? That's really weird. All it is over here on this pane are all the different Discord servers that I am personally members of, or direct contacts with people. And then over here is here's the Paranormal Portal. You click on that, and this is the Paranormal Portal Discord. And I wonder if it's going to make me do, no, okay. It usually puts a image right up here, but that's gone. Anyway, and these are the discussion threads that you can take part in. Some of them you can't if you're not an admin or a mod, but that's okay. Down here is the discussion groups. And these are the different categories you can dive into if you know of some of these things, or you want to look into some links that other people have posted. Feel free to peruse these and click on them. Let's say UFOs, you click on it, and people are posting videos and articles and things they're finding that they think is really interesting and wanting to share with our community. So There's tons of great information here. This is the question of the week, and this has been championed by our good friend, Mr. Chucky Danger. And he throws up a question every week, and you guys weigh in on it. Again, there's no wrong answers, so it's been really cool to hear what you guys have had to say. All right, here we go. We're going to dive into this week's question. Special thanks again to Chucky Danger. You rock, brother. You've been carrying this load for a while and doing a hell of a job, much better than I could ever have done. So thank you for that. All right, question for this week, for the week. Okay, so it was posted June 1st. I guess there is a date on there, but that's what we always got to look for. Make sure you're answering the most recent one if you're just starting. So scroll all the way to the bottom of it and then scroll up until you see this yellow highlighted box, and that's Chucky's question. All right, question of the week. Oftentimes in research of the paranormal, we often pigeonhole into specific avenues. Do you think incorporating devices used in other areas, such as spirit box while Sasquatch hunting, or the infrared detection systems used for UFO while ghost hunting, would be helpful? Perhaps using higher frequency detection devices like a Geiger counter would also help in all areas of research. What do you think of this shotgun approach to research? And it's a good point. A lot of our research efforts, again, there's no scientific mantles or schools of thought that are really championing any of these that we know of. If they're doing it in a more covert manner. They're not letting us know they're doing it, whether there's, maybe some more dark funding looking into some of the strangeness or something, or perhaps even governmentally funded stuff. The CIA is famous for looking into a lot of paranormal stuff in its long and colorful history. So, but it's all the lay people like you and I that are looking into this, trying to understand what the hell's going on, because people are having experiences with something. And that something is most often not acknowledged by our established sciences and authorities, so to speak. So it's left to us to figure it out. And what has happened is those people that are researching are trying to utilize any pieces of equipment that might be sourced from wherever. A lot of times, like EMF meters and readers are more for electrical work and engineering. But yet there is some sort of collaboration or correlation to spiritual presences and potential EMF fluctuations, which is what's going on the screen over here with the ghost radar that measures EMF fields in a very narrow spectrum, but utilizing a device called a magnetometer that is in every wireless device. Your phone, tablets, computers, if they have wireless, they have a magnetometer, and that magnetometer can be utilized to look for EM anomalies. It's not what it was designed for, but it's these bastardization of technologies in order to assist us in this quest for answers. And it is, and I know a lot of people take offense to this, but it is pseudoscience. It really is, because there isn't any established sciences that are really, and scientists that we know of that are actively researching this stuff. So we're left to our own devices, our own ingenuity, our own analytics and ideas. And so that's what we got. And people have found some surprisingly anomalous results utilizing these other tools. Again, EM detectors, just normal VHF radios and antenna and stuff have yielded strange results. What is it, like the IR cameras in cryptozoological studies and in ufology and in all of it. And so night vision, all of these things are borrowed technologies utilized for these pursuits. So it's a great question. What do you guys think of that approach? Do you think there's merit to it? All right, let's get to it. If I'm understanding the question correctly, Chucky, if I'm not, please correct me. All right, here it is. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit comes in first and says, interesting question. You might find more than you're looking for mixing it up like that, or nothing at all. Try it. Why not? What could possibly hurt but you? Good point. Yeah, I mean, there's always a risk, I suppose, into looking into the unknown, because you don't know what you're going to find, and you don't know what you find could do. I don't know what ghosts are for sure. I have ideas. But what if I'm really wrong and it's something horrible and I've just, invited it into my experience? Well, that's the other side of it. Or what do you do with a Bigfoot if you find one? Where does it go? What's plan B at that point? Or what is step 2? Find a Bigfoot. There it is. It doesn't like me. It looks pissed. Step 2 is probably go to your car as quickly as you can. All right. Anyway, good point. All right. Karen Alberding comes in next. I do think there's a tendency to pigeonhole, as you say. However, I think using a spirit box while hunting for Sasquatch would be detrimental rather than helpful. I think the quieter, the better. I think that's a great take, Karen. Thank you. It's like the pounding on trees and calling, I think sometimes is not helpful, though once in a while gets results. Good takes, good takes. I think most of the time the Sasquatch being hunted are probably rolling their eyes. I thought the same thing. To me, the thermals are the best and maybe the tree knocking, but not so much the calls. I never thought of a Geiger counter. That may work depending on the noise they make. They're actually pretty passive, Karen. They don't really make noise unless you set it to alarm. I think forest creatures are very sensitive to the sounds of the environment, which is why a spirit box, I think, would only drive them away or make them really angry. Just my thoughts. And that's my biggest complaint about spirit boxes in both ghost research or any other research. It is absolutely annoying because all you hear is this. And maybe a word or two thrown in there, but it removes one of our most valuable senses, which is hearing. Sometimes you may hear footsteps in a hallway as you're ghost investigating, but you won't hear it because you got in your ear. And so I think that takes away from it. I think a lot of the people utilizing noise gates on that is a really good approach, and it might help to clear out a lot of the, just horrible noise pollution that you get from a spirit box. I'm not suggesting that they don't yield really impressive results. I think they do, but I think that most often all you get is that shuffling of stations, that static, and it does remove you from the experience in a sense. So I do think you're right, and certainly for Bigfoot research, I think you got to hear what's going on. You got to hear if something's walking around or any other. I think sound is a big part of researching Bigfoot, so I would agree with you there. Now, I will say that Geiger counters, I think, would be extraordinarily helpful in all of it, because if indeed portals are opening and things are traversing what might be a portal or a gateway of some sort, then there probably is going to be some sort of gamma burst that happens. A gamma radiation burst would probably be indicative of a portal opening. As the spaces are merged, there should be a gamma burst of some kind to indicate that. And so having a Geiger counter or some kind of a measuring tool that can check, that can watch for gamma, I think would be a good indicator of the potential of a portal opening and closing. And if that corroborates or correlates with then activity happening, maybe you can deduce, at least on some rudimentary level, that maybe a portal was involved in that. And maybe then that also speaks to the possibly transdimensional or ideas of some of this stuff. I don't know. Just food for thought. Annie Manol comes in next and says, I think we need to distinguish between investigation and research. Research is a systematic investigation, but not all investigations qualify as research. Research is systematic. It seeks to prove a quantifiable hypothesis. For example, the hypothesis that UFOs leave radiation traces, go up to 200 UFO sites, with a Geiger counter, factor in radiation factors like radioactive trace minerals in the ground and plants, take readings in similar landscapes with no UFO sightings, and look at the commonality of the results. Get other people to do the same and analyze the results, make them known to other researchers and the public, and that's probably good research. The shotgun approach to running around randomly with a Geiger counter or any other instrument or means of collecting data, it's not research, it's an investigation with observations that ideally should lead to research. There's nothing wrong with doing that for fun or for satisfying your curiosity. It's the unsystematic approach that produces scattershot results. Ultimately, it doesn't answer complex questions because they require systematic data collection that matches the complexity of the question. Sometimes you have to do that incrementally until you get a bigger picture. And that's where citizen science comes in, because the average person can provide boots on the ground to systematically use the tools to answer basic hypotheses, such as, do UFOs leave trace radiation? Again, this doesn't preclude people investigating things for fun or trying to make sense of the paranormal. How we arrive at our own belief or knowledge of something being real is personal. Most of us, even Einstein, use rule of thumbs and examples that convince. That's okay. That's how our brains work, and it simply isn't how objective evidence gained from a systematic use of things like Geiger counters is arrived at. Exceptional answer. Yeah, I would agree. I don't pretend that I'm a researcher, but I do love to investigate. I know that I'm not systematic in my approach in any regard, but there's still, anomalies are anomalies, and they're fun and interesting, and it does make you wonder. Mystique SD comes in and says, all of those devices are data points, and regardless of whether they work or not, it is still a data point to learn from. Fair enough. Some of the most valuable data and discoveries that were ever recorded came from people curious about what is and isn't there. Hopefully you'll share the information you get so others can try it and gather data from it and share it. And that is how scientific research used to be done before it turned into something you had to go to school to do. Interesting points. And I think communication is a big takeaway from this thread so far. It's like, what we need to be able to do is corroborate and communicate with a network of people looking into these same phenomena, utilizing similar approaches. I think that's a great take. Like, I have a handful of tools that are, again, they're fun and interesting, and they may or may not utilize and provide reliable results, but something's triggering them. But if I can work with a group of people utilizing similar tool sets and approaches and be able to map that across a series of sites, yeah, I think that's a great take. You guys are really dialing it in. That's awesome. Michelle Wolfong's coming in next, said inmates escaped because of the jail staff were slipping. Oh, this is a response to the other question of the week, I think. I don't think there's any correlation between the doll and the inmates that escaped. That's from last week's. I don't think so either. I think you're right, Michelle, but that is a response to last week's question of the week, talking about the doll, Annabelle, touring around and all the bad stuff happening. Is it because of the doll? And so, yeah. And I think that was the general consensus of everybody that responded to that one. Plainendo Gaming says, I feel that if you bring any device, they will know you're watching them. Yes, I think largely these things seem to be very aware of our presence when we're in their areas. So I think you're right. Whether it's spiritual or cryptozoological, I think they are very, very dialed in on the fact that we're there. We're not going to sneak up on them, probably. Josh Casto says, I'm thinking, give me a bit. Be back soon. There he is. He's back. It was 2 days later he came back from June 2nd till June 4th. All right, Josh, what do you have to say? Incorporating devices could give an unexpected experience, which would be cool either way, but I think it's best to keep an open mind as using said devices. On the other hand, do they work for Bigfoot? I don't know. I agree with others on the spirit box. Those things are annoying, and if I was a Bigfoot, I wouldn't like that loud-ass thing. But why not try it and see? Might get scary if they eat you, though. But they might bring forth something, so why not? Just be careful and make sure you got your armor of God on, and a big gun just in case, and a good prayer to stay protected. Great question, Chucky. Yeah, good take, Josh. Yeah, I think those are all good takeaways, actually. All right, BJ Lapierre, our wonderful author and friend. I think there's no harm in trying out different avenues of research when dealing with outside-the-box thinking when it comes to research. If nothing happens and there's no variation in response using the variant, then without it, nothing lost, nothing gained. But at least you know. It never hurts to delve deeper and try new things. Sometimes you may just get a surprise. Yeah, good points. I mean, it doesn't hurt. And I don't think anybody has suggested such that you shouldn't bother. I think utilizing any tools you can yield at least some insight. And even if nothing happens, then it's an insight. that either nothing was there to happen with, but if consistently you utilize a new tool and it never gleans any kind of results, then you can build on the body of knowledge you have, because it doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to be an effective tool in what you're trying to look into. So you can remove it, and elimination is definitely a part of the process. You got to eliminate things that don't yield results. At the same point, you have to build up those things that do and let others know. Barbara Moore comes in next, and she says, civilization would never have moved forward if it weren't for the people that tried different devices or techniques. So I have no doubt that even the simplest things can help advancing the paranormal field. If you have it, use it. Amen. Good point. And last up here is Rachel 101. Certain tools look at certain things. Having a variety of equipment can reveal things we'd probably not notice. So I think it's a good idea to have lots of different types of equipment on hand. I agree. Bring as big a toolbox as you can. And now the other take is it doesn't all have to be big, expensive devices. It can be little silly things like a temperature thermometer that you use on your grill or on food to shoot a little laser to see what the temperature of something is. Those work great in houses looking for cold spots and things like that. Any anomalies that you can map and track and record can be informative and help to aim research, things like that. It doesn't have to be expensive stuff. I mean, some of the earliest ghost hunters used compasses. The old school was to carry a really good compass around and watch for that north to start goofing up. It's like, well, this is an electromagnetic anomaly here. So it doesn't all have to be bells and whistles and buttons and LED screens. There's always devices that can be utilized that most people have. So don't be afraid to try with some of the old school approaches. But great thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much for weighing in. I think these are wonderful, wonderful ideas and takes, and I appreciate your input for sure. You guys always amaze me with these responses. So thank you to everybody who took the time to come over to the Discord and weigh in on the question of the week. And keep your eyes open, because Chucky will put a new one up for next week, I'm sure. The guy's a machine. Time is an illusion, he says. Well, the illusion will be, the question of the week will be read again next Saturday. So we do these questions of the week on Saturday. So, whenever you see them, if you're a part of the Discord community, head over there when you can and weigh in on that. That's really cool. If you're not, become a member. It's, again, absolutely free. And it's an easy thing to use. Just take a little bit of time. Now, if you're new to Discord and you're like, I have no idea what to do, I don't know what I'm doing, where should I go? There is a Discord tutorial right here. If you click on this is something Sheldon set up with ZX81V2. Also adding some videos that'll walk you through how to use Discord so you know what the hell you're doing. It's kind of weird. So anyway, just so you know, there is help right here in the Discord. Just click on that, left click on it, and then move your mouse over to the next area and use your scroll wheel on your mouse to go up and down. And that's how you navigate these different threads, whether it's question of the week. When you join, you'll be in the general, and so we can see if anybody new is popped in just by scrolling. So, yep, there you go. That's encouraging. I'll put this up. It said, science facts you learned that are now wrong. There's a whole video about that. Isn't that the funny thing? They say science is this ultimate authority, and yet it's always evolving. I actually like that, to be honest with you, because it just keeps us humble. The arrogance of science is pretty severe, at least the overriding view of science is that it's this ultimate authority, but I don't think we even know all the questions to ask to find the answers to yet. So it's a very young thing, and we still have a lot to learn. So anyway, there's more things: Bigfoot, Dogman, Ghost, UFOs, etc. So there's lots to see over here. Love for you to get involved over on our Discord community and make yourselves at home. So let's get back to the rest of what we're doing today. All right, there we are, folks. We're going to pull up for the next segment of the show. There's always more. It's already after 8. Wow. Excuse me. I'll never do Discord, Curious says. Curious Potato. Oh. Well, you're welcome to if you want to, but if you don't want to, there's certainly no pressure. We can make it without you, but we'd love to have you there. All right. Gotta roll. God bless. Thank you, John Temperin. You be safe too, brother. Thank you. And thanks for stopping in for as long as you could. All right, so we're going to get to the next segment now. I got to find the video I pulled up for this. There it is. There it is. It's a big one. I got to shrink the screen of it down so it's not so damn huge, because there's still more to do. Okay, so this is the new segment of the show, and this is called What the Hell Is That? And I have an old video that I pulled up. I think I first saw this over a decade ago online. And I was like, whoa. When I started really deep diving into the Bigfoot stuff, and I was always interested in it, but I really started deep diving into it about 15 years ago. And so I'd go on and look for everything I could find and learn everything people were claiming about it. And so one of the things that I found fascinating is this possibility that these strange humanoid hominoids, I don't know. But whatever they are, they seem to have a genetic similarity to us. Now, if you followed the Bigfoot Genome Project, they've apparently, and I realize there's some controversy about it, but I think that there was some pretty exciting things discovered from that. Again, I don't pretend to be informed enough to say, yes, you should believe exactly what they say or not. But I don't think that all of the tests and blind testing they had that yielded similar results can be ignored. And one of the things that was discovered through the Sasquatch Genome Project was that there was a common female ancestor. There's a female human ancestor for what we know as Bigfoot based upon some genetic testing that was done, genome sequencing and such. And again, I'm not pretending it's without controversy. I understand that, but just speaking with what I understand about it, there seems to be at least more than an, how do I state this? There seems to be at least enough evidence there that it has to be at least acknowledged to some degree. Is it without question? No. And I don't pretend to be smart enough to question the results or to authenticate the results. But there is apparently a female and human ancestor to what we know as Bigfoot right now. And that's global as far as I know. Yeah, Dr. Melba Ketchum. Exactly, Happy Dog Lady. That's her results. I always lose names in my head, so I appreciate your help. But there's an unknown male. And so there does seem to be some genetic similarity between us as Homo sapiens and these Bigfoots, these Sasquatch, these Grassmen, these Yeren, these Yowies, these any number of other names, Almas, Almasties, Skookums, skunk apes, boogers, whatever name you want to use, Grogok, there's names for them all over the place, all across the globe. But they seem to have some common ancestry with us. And some claims have been made through time that there has been crossbreeding that has taken place, and it's produced viable offspring. Now, I'm not telling you should believe it. I'm not telling you shouldn't. I'm just saying, based on the genetic evidence, there's at least common ancestry to some degree, at least on the maternal side. And there are claims that in instances where there has been, and it's usually not voluntary crossbreeding, I'll just say that, but when it's happened, there has been offspring produced that have been viable and survived. The Zana story out of Russia is a big one, where they found this wild person, the Almas, up in the Alma Mountains up there, the Almasty Mountains, whatever. And she was captured. And She was left in a pit for apparently 3 years, and that's how long it took to break her spirit. And unfortunately, after that, her life was not very good. She was basically utilized as a recreational tool for the village men every once in a while, and she apparently produced offspring. Now, what they did find, to give you a little background on this, they claim that's the first several of those offspring would be dead within a short period of time. And what they found apparently was that after she would give birth, she would bring them down to the river in this mountain community in Russia and wash these newborn babies, which of course they couldn't handle and would soon pass away. So they ended up with future progeny removing it from her and then giving it to local families to raise. And several of her offspring went on to have kids of their own and so on and so forth. But she was regarded as Xana. So if you're not familiar with the Xana story, it's disturbing and it's sad and it's also interesting because, again, it seems to suggest there's a genetic similarity between them. So this part of the show is called The hell is that? Now, what I've managed to do, and this is a video, as again, it's Zana, not Xena. Zana is the name for the offspring. Xena was a warrior princess, and also the name of my old German Shepherd back in the day. But she was a wonderful dog. Love that dog. But yeah, I wouldn't say chimps are 98% human, but I would say they have a 98% genetics match to humans. But then again, I think a banana is somehow genetically close to us too. So, most life forms on this planet have a pretty high degree of genetic similarity. But this is apparently a video, and this is a much longer video. I will include the link in the chats if you guys want to watch this on your own. I don't know if it's in English or not. This looks very Chinese, but it has several different images of at least a claim story out of China. The backstory on this is that this was there was a village up in the mountains of China, and I don't remember the area, and I'm sure you can find out more about it, but I'm going to paraphrase all of this. But there was a village up in China, and of course in China the Bigfoot are called Yeren, Y-E-R-E-N. And this woman was apparently abducted, taken away. This village girl was abducted and taken away by this Yeren, or a woman. I guess she wasn't a girl, she was a woman. And she was apparently gone for a couple of weeks. But apparently she waited one night, and when it became safe for the Yeren that was holding her captive had its way with her several times, but she managed to escape and made it back to the village. However, soon after arriving back at the village and sharing her story, she found out she was pregnant. And she ended up going to full term, and this video is the result of that pregnancy. Now, some people will look at this and say, well, it's just commonly explainable. These are just well-known birth defects, such as maybe hydrocephalus or whatever. But it doesn't match up if you look into the actual definition of hydrocephalus or a water head is. And I knew a neighbor back in the day that had a child that had hydrocephalus, and it was a very sad thing because unfortunately she wasn't able to live very long in her life. But she was a sweet little baby, and she passed away, but it looks nothing like this. So that's all the setup I'm going to give you, and again, I'll include the link, and you feel free to look it up. Karen Alberting says, my daughter's German Shepherd is named Xena, too. She also has Oscar Mayer and Bruce Banner. Yeah, great kids. All right, so here's a clip of this video. I'm going to show it to you. There's old footage. Now, there is actually video footage of a person that went up to research this claim. in China, and that's what we're going to be viewing now. When you look at the physiological structure of this child, this basically man at this point, I think it's maybe in the late teens or 20s area of its life at this point. Look at the physiology of this person. Now, according to the stories that I've been able to track about this story, the child never learned to communicate verbally. Never. Grunts, groans, and it hated wearing clothes. Seemed to be absolutely fine in all different temperatures, being buck naked, running around with absolutely no hair. It didn't have a abundance of hair. But the physiological variables that you'll observe in this video, to me, suggest that maybe it's true. Maybe this is truly a hybrid child of that crossbreeding. Let's check it out, and you'll see, and you can ask yourself, what the hell is that? Here we go.
的长阳线拍下了这些珍贵的镜头。
Let's look at that cranial structure.
猴娃的小名叫犬子，大名曾繁盛，已经30岁了。猴娃不会说话，只能喊出几种简单的声音。更让人惊奇的是，30岁的猴娃从小到大，无论寒暑，从来都是这样赤身裸体。
Look at the neck versus the shoulders. The kid doesn't really have a neck. It doesn't really have a conical shaped head either, but I don't know if Yeren are known for a rounded or conical shaped head. I know Yowies are generally considered more rounded by my understanding in talking to Australian witnesses and Cade Moya of the Belief podcast. Look at that structure though, that when people see Bigfoot, oftentimes didn't look like it had a neck. It's like the shoulders, like the head just jutted out from between the shoulders. And that is pretty incredible. I don't know that the arms are exceptionally long. It looks like the legs are exceptionally long. There's a very pronounced torso in here, but this is, again, believed to be a hybrid. So it's not going to have absolute characteristics of either of its parents, so to speak. But these are exceptionally anomalous in a child. Again, hydrocephalus or microcephalus might be more possible, but it's apparently structurally it doesn't match, and I don't remember the scientific arguments for it not being either. But you can see that the brow ridge is very high, but yet the forehead and top of the skull is not much higher than that. It's got this long face, and I don't mean it because it's a person, and I feel really kind of exceptionally sad for this having happened, because I don't know how this kid was treated. I don't know how it was regarded. It doesn't look unhappy. He doesn't look unhappy, but at the same regard, it is very interesting.
他却从来也没有生过病。
I guess he was exceptionally tall though. And as you can see, I mean, he looks exceptionally tall, but again, look at that structure. Not exceptionally wide shoulders, but definitely a variant of the physiology of most people. Not that it's impossible, not that it couldn't happen naturally or by any number of reasons. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but when I saw this, I was like, yeah, if I was going to imagine what a human and a Bigfoot would look like, this would be pretty much it. This would be kind of what I would expect.
录像中怀抱孩子的就是猴娃的母亲。对于突然来到的王方辰等人，他三缄其口，一语不发。而猴娃的父亲也始终不肯面对镜头。对于这一点，和王方辰
Isn't that crazy though? I mean, again, sitting like this is very common in Asia, so that's not anomalous. But it is very interesting. And I don't speak Chinese, so I can't tell exactly what this person is saying. I've seen English versions of this broken down many times in the past, but you gotta wonder. I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Again, it seems unlikely it would be that tall. Well, we don't know what that tall is. I mean, of course, Chinese people are generally pretty short in stature, but there are, like Yao Ming is a NBA basketball player, extraordinarily tall guy, and he was Chinese. So I don't know that it's without precedence that they could be large anyway. But it is a whole amalgamation of different anomalies to me. I don't know. It kind of seems like it might be legit, is what I'm going to say. But I can't stand on any facts or knowledge other than what I've been able to unearth. Wonder what they're saying about him. Yeah, I would love to see this translated and see what they are saying. I'll show a little bit more, but then I'll just put the YouTube link in the chats, and you guys can check it out. I think it's fascinating, and this is from the Natural Height Growth channel on YouTube with 2.31 thousand subscribers, so you can certainly check it out on there. Again, I know there are English versions out there. I didn't do a deep dive looking for those so you guys could hear it, but then again, I didn't want to raise any issues utilizing somebody else's stuff to an extraordinary extent to hear all the explanations. I'm paraphrasing everything from, what I'm seeing, what I did hear about it, and telling you now. It looks like microcephaly. I saw people with both. When we visited my cousin at Ridge Home in Wheat Ridge, she was profoundly Down syndrome. Yeah, and it certainly could be microcephaly. But there are arguments against that, and I don't remember what they are because I don't know. Certainly, it's not impossible that. There was of course sideshows in America that featured people with very big physiological anomalies, and that was maybe exploitive to some degree, but for whatever reasons, I think it's interesting. But okay, so that's basically the video. I'm going to share it right now, put the link to it in the chat. You certainly can check it out. Find other versions of it that might break it down in English so you can hear some of the arguments. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I just think it could be, like, again, if I was going to picture a cross between a human being and a Bigfoot, this is kind of what I would expect. And that's not meant to be a disparaging statement, but that it would have features of both and also issues of both, crossbreeding. I don't know. I don't think his arms were exceptionally long in comparison to the rest of his frame, much like you'd expect. But then again, if he is indeed a hybrid of sorts, then he's half human, and so he would probably have those human variables. His arms and legs do seem long for the size of his head, but whatever that means. Where's the hair? It's on his head. That's it. He wasn't covered in hair, Jordan. He was, I guess, pretty much had human body hair and growth. So, but he wouldn't ever wear clothes. He would not ever wear clothes, and apparently could tolerate a lot of temperature variations that other people couldn't have done running around naked like this. So it's interesting, but that is today's version of I don't know for sure, but I find that video interesting, and I've been absolutely fascinated by that one for years. Is it demonstrating a hybrid or not? I don't know. Could be, though, but again, I don't know the arguments enough. Hydrocephalus is cured with shunts now that drain the head. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I don't know why that wasn't used for the little child that I knew, but maybe they didn't do it then. I don't know. It's just so sad. So, in Chinese, in him kept the hair away. Yeah, it could be. Chinese are generally not a very hairy people, Asians are usually pretty hairless they don't have a lot of arm hair and leg hair and stuff like that like we do. Like I do. I don't know what you guys have. I shouldn't speak like I'm speaking for all of us here. Pixie Ranger, if it's not a hybrid, it should be able to reproduce easily. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that if it was, I don't know. How can I say this? Reproductively viable. I'm not sure it would have had a lot of opportunity to test that, or that it was tested I don't know at the time that this was recorded that it was possible to even harvest reproductive materials to test that theory. I don't know. I'm just saying. A lot of questions, no answers, but it's definitely a curiosity, right? What do you guys think of that one? What do you guys think of the possibility? I'd like to do a chat poll because I'm kind of curious with your guys' take. Again, you don't have a lot of information at this point, just a gut reaction. 1, do you think it's possible that was indeed a hybrid? Or 2, do you think it's just a medical, medical issues, and it's unfortunate, but it's just a kid with a lot of issues? What do you think? 1, it's a hybrid. 2, just a medical kid with issues. John Stevenson says 2. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's the only response I got so far. Or a lab sample. Yeah. Batman thinks it might be. Annie Manul says no, don't think so. Happy Dog Lady, nope. Okay. I've heard of other hybrids. Number 1, yep. There is, again, the Zana story, who had several offspring that went on to parent other lines of their own. They were very regarded as exceptionally strong. There was one offspring of Zana named, I think he was named Canute or Newt, and the guy was exceptionally strong. I guess he would lift up a table from one end with the one hand, and I guess there's stories like that. Happy Dog Lady says nope, and Owl 13 says nope. Okay. Yeah, I thought the Russians had a similar situations. Yeah. Our doctor is Korean, and he said trying to grow a beard for him was pathetic, so he doesn't even try. Yeah, well, I'm not even Asian, and I can't grow a beard. I can't grow a beard to save my life. I don't know. I evolved differently in a lot of ways. So, all right, Barbara Moore over there says nope, doesn't believe that was actually a hybrid werewolf and Karen Alberting. Okay, yeah, fair enough. It would be a 1, but if hybrid, wouldn't it be hairier? No, not necessarily. It just means that it's a viable offspring of 2, I don't know, genetically similar progenitors. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the hair really isn't a measure. You'd think maybe it would be, like it might have hairier forearms or something. I don't know. That's not a bad question, actually. I don't know. I've never really thought of it. I don't know what are dominant traits between the two. You'd think the Sasquatch traits would be very dominant, but I'm not sure where hair comes from. If that's more of a maternal thing or is it a paternal thing? I'm not sure as a feature. But okay, thanks for your thoughts, guys. I guess, not many of you were on board with that being a legit thing. I kind of am. I don't know why. I just kind of am, but it's probably just maybe my own confirmation bias, because it was something that I found very early in my deep dive into Bigfoot and possibilities. And it's one that's always made me wonder. Hello, Brent and everyone. Hello, Larry and Shirley Bell. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in over on Facebook. Wonderful to have you here. But interesting enough, anyway, again, obviously we have different opinions, and that's cool. That's part of this journey. So that was What the Hell's That? I like that new segment, though. I've been having fun doing it. And it adds another layer of what we can do here on the shows, of course. Reviewing stuff, sometimes it's going to be absolutely scammy and hoaxy, and I want to take a moment to explain why, and maybe some of you don't know, and maybe some of you do, maybe most of you do. But I still want to point it out. It's a medical condition. It had small muscles. It did, yep. But, if you look at like some monkeys, primates, they aren't very big, but they are exceptionally strong. So I don't know. Again, it's anybody's guess. Just some weird thoughts. Anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to dive into tonight because it's one that's really always boggled my mind as a possibility. I think there might be something to it, but I don't know necessarily why I think that. But it was kind of broken down that way in a video, so maybe that's my bias. Is that the English video that I did watch was like, yeah, this really doesn't make sense, and here's why. And I can't remember what those points were. So anyway, we'll continue on because we got more to do. It is now time for us to go on another article of fun. And I got to pull it up to do that, don't I? There we go. All right, we're going to go back to Thought Catalog. We made it through our Skinwalker stories, and those were pretty fascinating, pretty creepy stuff. I don't know. I think one of the last ones we read, I think, was more Bigfoot, probably, or maybe Dogman. But in any case, I don't think that was necessarily a Skinwalker, but maybe it was. I don't know. We're going to go to this one, and this is another Thought Catalog article. Again, I've loved Thought Catalog for years just because they have an exceptional catalog of this paranormal weirdness. And a lot of these are Reddit scrapes or articles that are farmed comments from people that have had experiences or claim to. Now, again, we can't speak much to the authenticity of these claims, but if they are legit, or if only 1% of them is legit, that's still phenomenal. But we'll go through it and see what we find. This one is an article written again by the Mr. Eric Redding, and we've read a few of his articles through the months here and years on the Paranormal Portal, and I've really enjoyed his articles. This article on Thought Catalog, let me bring it up on screen so y'all can see it. Oops.
What the hell is that?
What the hell is that? That was me forgetting to turn that off before I cleared that screen. All right, so here we go. This one's from Thought Catalog, ladies and gentlemen. It's written 20 of the spookiest first-person accounts of seeing an actual spirit in the real world that you'll ever read. There you go. It's written by Eric Redding, and again, this one's from September of 2022. So let's see what these are. Again, here's the first one. Grim Reaper from the 70s. You know, that's, I don't know. It's something that used to come up a lot where people would see Grim Reapers and in hauntings and such. And maybe it was more hooded figures that people just assumed was Grim Reapers coming to collect souls. But maybe they were more of a shadow people. There's certainly plenty of claims of shadow people that are viewed as these like black robed, hooded, shadowy things that dart around. And maybe that's what people equated as Grim Reapers. But you never hear anybody say, I saw a Grim Reaper. I think we all expect to see the scythe or whatever, but I think back then it was just, it's a hooded black figure. It's got to be the Grim Reaper. That's what hooded black figures are. So I don't know. Let's check it out, though. Intensive care nurse here. I've had many stories ranging from the sheets being ripped apart to old women in rocking chairs. But this one, the one which haunts me, is the time I actually think I saw the Grim Reaper. Ooh. It was 1999, late in the day. It was summer and turning dark in a busy 12-bedded ITU. I'm not sure what ITU is. Intensive unit, but I don't know what the T is. In London. I was in charge and at the nurses' station, and there were a few people milling around. But less than during the day. I looked up to see this man opening and coming through the double doors of the unit. He was so striking. What was so striking about him were his clothes. He looked like he'd been picked straight out of a 1974 and dropped in 1999. He was wearing brown cord flares. I think we've covered this one on another thread years ago. But anyway, the platform shoes men wore then, and an orange, yellow, and brown check shirt with a cream and brown patterned tank top. Oh, God. That sounds horrendous. Definitely 70s. Over the shirt, he was, I guess he had a tank top over the shirt. Oh, that's a hell of a look. He was white and with shortish brown hair, not quite 1970s, and about 30 years old. He walked calmly, like he did this all the time, towards a bay of patients. Not recognizing him and knowing he wasn't a relative of any healthcare person, I said, "Hello, can I help?" He looked at me directly, nodded as if to say hello, and just carried on walking. I watched him, and he stopped at the end of the patient's bed and turned to look at them. He never touched the person or did anything other than just look at them. This unwell but stable patient suddenly and unexpectedly deteriorated. As the staff went to assist, they all acted like they didn't see him. He turned around, and as calmly as he came in, he left. I never saw what direction he went as I left the nurse's station to go and help with the patient, who ultimately, despite our best efforts, died. I spoke to some of the staff later on about the 1970s visitor, and no one else saw him. 17 years later, it is vivid in my mind. That was submitted by Scary Carrie 91476 on Reddit. So that's pretty creepy. Interesting, right? Huh. It's like, oh, why is this guy still here? He's not supposed to be doing well. Let's get him on, get him moving. Is there a schedule? Do our lifetimes have a schedule? It's kind of a creepy thought, isn't it? Number 2, the penthouse owner. My family bought a penthouse apartment back when I was in high school. We got it for like $50,000 under what it was actually worth. And it turned out the previous owner was a music producer who just disappeared. Well, the guy's body finally wound up being found months later. And the way I remember it, he had been tortured and then shot multiple times. It's really sad stuff. We bought the apartment from his mom, who just wanted to be done with the whole thing. Well, anyway, my stepdad and I started going to daily to fix it up, but I always felt uneasy about being there, as if someone was watching me. One day, my stepdad went down to the car to get some tools and left me alone. As I was there by myself, I looked down the hallway that led down to the master bedroom, and I kid you not, I saw a bright white silhouette appear from one side of the master bedroom, walking to the next. It stopped in the middle, turned, and looked straight at me. I freaking froze. It wasn't like an evil kind of thing. He just looked at me for a few seconds and then walked to the other side and disappeared. Well, I freaked the hell out and bolted for the elevator. This crap happened during the middle of the day. It was bright as can be, so I knew what the hell I saw, but my stepdad wouldn't believe me and just laughed it off. Well, a couple of days later, while we were tearing down some built-in shelves in one of the bedroom closets, we found a notebook belonging to the previous owner, and in it were love poems, lyrics, and sketches. My mom just told my stepdad not to throw it away so we could give it to the guy's mom. My stepdad, being a piece of crap, threw it away. Well, after that, creepy stuff started happening. Lights turned on and off. Windows we had closed the previous day would now be open. And these were hurricane-force windows, by the way, the kind that have latches and keys to them. So it was impossible for the wind to have opened them. My mom and I stopped helping with renovations after that, and my stepdad hired some guys he knew to come and finish. Well, these guys lived pretty far away, so my stepdad told them to just stay in the apartment while the repairs were being done. They lasted 2 days. And they called my stepdad in a panic in the middle of the night saying they heard crap and saw shadows and that their alarm clock would go off at random times they had not set it to. My mom decided that was it and called in a priest to bless the house. And we then burnt sage all throughout for a couple of days with the windows open to cleanse and clear the apartment. Well, the creepy thugs stopped after that. A few years later, I ran into one of the guys and asked him what happened in that apartment that spooked him. And he said the doors were slamming in the middle of the night and that they heard what sounded like things moving out in the laundry area. He said it was the scariest crap he'd ever been a part of and wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah, it's again a great litmus test. You ever want to know if your house is haunted or has something hanging around, start doing renovations. Start redecorating. Tearing down wallpaper and scraping walls and re-wallpapering. And if something's hanging around there, it's going to let you know. And chances are, I think probably most places have some sort of presence to them. Maybe the house alone has its own presence. I don't know. Is it possible that a building can be sentient? Why not? I don't know. I mean, does it live, eat and breathe? No, but maybe it's alive in a different sense. I think everything has a consciousness. That's just my take. But that was written by Drunken Jedi 86. Poor guy, it led him to drinking. He ended up being a drinker after that. Might be a fast track to drinking if you're not coping with it well. All right, well, here we go. This is number 3, a woman in a nightgown. Well, I'd been a person who was never sure what to believe in when it related to ghosts, but my experience has boggled my mind. I was around 12 or so, and my cousin, my brother, and I were all hanging out in our family room watching movies. Crudely drawn layout of the house, I guess, is there. I don't know if we need that, but anyway. It was like midnight, and my mom had been in bed for a few hours. I looked up and saw at least what I thought was my mom walked past the entryway to the family room from the living room to the kitchen. My brother even called out, "Hey, Mom." No response. She just walked right past without acknowledging us and into the kitchen and out of view. She was wearing a long, flowing, whitish nightgown. Keep in mind, the entire house is pitch black, except for the light of the TV. A couple of seconds later, we were wondering what was going on, so we got up and glanced into the kitchen. Nothing. Just darkness. We started freaking out, and we all 3 ran down the hallway through the living room and burst into her room. She was lying in bed, passed out asleep. We woke her up and asked her if she was just in the kitchen. Well, she leaned up to figure out what was happening, and she was wearing blue pajamas, not wearing a white nightgown. We freaked out. I didn't know what to think. There's a door that connects the kitchen to her room, but that door was always wedged shut and would make a loud creaking, scraping noise once it was shoved open. Nobody used that door. We were up and heading towards her room in a matter of seconds, and she wouldn't have had time to walk past, shove open and close that door and change her clothes. We have no idea who or what we saw walk past the kitchen that night. And I would have convinced myself I was seeing things, but my brother called her name. He saw it too. I'm not making this up. It's been over 10 years. I'm 24 years old, and the thought still gives me weird goosebumps. And for some reason, I start to tear up when I think too much about it. I'm an intellectual and a rational person, but if you ask me if I believe in ghosts, I can't comfortably say no. That was by R. Stallard, 91. Yeah. Seeing is believing. Brent's bedtime stories. Yes, it's time for my bedtime stories. Everybody get all nestled in. Pull the covers close. And I'll continue to read to you. All right, here we go. A pale horse, number 4. In 2009, a friend of mine was coming home from a city at 11 p.m. with his father, and 2 to 3 kilometers before entering the city, they suddenly saw a white horse standing in the middle of the road. Well, he tried to save the horse and I think he meant swerved, but it says severed the car into the ditch below road. And as they got out of the car, there was no horse to be seen anywhere. He told me this the next day, and we found it really creepy. Well, fast forward to 2015, and some other friends of mine were coming home from a different city at 1:30 a.m. and doing about 140 kilometers per hour, which I don't know what that means, but it sounds really fast. And they reached the same place near the city border and suddenly see the same white horse standing in the middle of the road. Well, the driver, weighing in his options, decided it was best not to try to turn. He hit the brakes hard, and the car just went straight through the horse, skidding. They came to a stop and realized it was a ghost horse or something and just ran home. Told me about this the next day we talked. The weird thing is, either of these friends never met each other, and there's 6 years difference between both occurrences. That story was by Batman. Bat M4NN. Batman, you got company here. 2 N's and a 4 for the A. There you go. My horse died that way, hit by a car on the highway at night. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's really sad. Horses are beautiful animals. All right, let's move to number 5, The Big Man and the Nun. Actually, it's 44. 844. 844? Is it really? How do we get here? God, we better do some cryptids.
Difficulty.
Yeah, with difficulty, apparently, or no difficulty. How do we get here? Difficulty. The ghost box just said the same thing. Not the same thing, but it's like it was answering me. How do we get here? Difficulty. Creepy, a little weird. But I'm going to think we're going to head over to the cryptids because we got to get some cryptid corner in here. Otherwise, it just wouldn't feel right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop there with the article from Thought Catalog, and we're going to head to the cryptid corner because we got to hit our cryptids. We got a full day's supply of cryptids in just one story because that's about all we got time for. Let's see what we do here. Chucky found out he was doing research for a podcast episode tomorrow, and I discovered that there's a Jersey Devil type cryptid here in the Okanagan. Yikes. I didn't know of any other place that had a Jersey Devil like cryptid. That's a creepy cryptid thing. There we go. All right. We're going to get to the cryptid corner because, God, we're running out of time. It's been difficult, but we've made it. All right, let's get to this. We're going to start out the cryptid corner in phantomsandmonsters.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lon Strickler's site, and an amazing site it is. If you're into encounter stories or seeing what people have experienced or reading about it, this is where you go. This is where you go. Phantoms and Monsters literally has thousands of encounter stories. Lon is constantly updating this site with brand new material, several every day, and it's exceptionally well done. Lon works his tail off, and he's been a pillar in the community for decades, literally. And it's with great pleasure that I feature those here on the shows because Lon is a friend, and he does an exceptional job. So I just want to encourage you guys to go check out phantomsandmonsters.com because there is just so much over there. That there's literally thousands of different encounter stories and research and information. There's also information from Lon's published works you can find on here. It's on basically the tail end of every article. I'm just a little busy tonight on the Ghost Box, isn't it? On the end of every article, there's links to his published works. You can find out some of the research efforts that they've been doing in regards to all the cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, the Mothman type creatures in the Midwest around the Chicago Great Lakes area. He's been digging into all that pretty heavily, and it's exceptional. Lon also has a podcast, Phantoms and Monsters Radio. It's a YouTube channel and a podcast as well, and you can find him doing live streams every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure to go over to Phantoms and Monsters Radio, get subscribed, and hang out every Friday night. You can start your night there. Check out an hour of Lon doing his live stream and bringing you great information. Hang out 2 hours with me here on the portal, and then go over and hang out for 3 with Dave Scott and Spaced Out Radio. So lots of great stuff. But we're going to get started here. What are those pale man-like creatures? I'll tell you what. These pale man-like creatures are creepy as hell. Again, I'm just going to say it over and over because I really think this is the truth. I don't think this is a new phenomenon. I think this is a very old phenomenon. But I think people used to refer to them as ghouls, and now they're being called rakes or pale crawlers or any other numbers of names that have been coined more recently. But I don't think it's a new phenomenon. I think it's just a new description, a new title for this very old phenomena. But let's check it out. What are they? I thought maybe it was a teenager doing a mime, but there's no one taking pictures, and this thing had an oddly pronounced spine and was completely hairless. Yeah, if it's pale and hairless, that's a bad start. It's like there's electrolysis at work or something. It's pretty crazy. Lon says, I've received the following account. I was walking late one night with my German Shepherd when I smelled an overwhelming stench of roadkill. I looked over into the woods near my home and saw a naked, pale, white man-like creature crawling through the underbrush. It was on its hands and feet and knees, about 3 inches above the ground. So it's doing almost like that Bigfoot spider crawl, sounds like. Which has got to be horrifying to witness anyway. Well, I switched hands on my flashlight. With my dog's leash prevented me from shining in that direction immediately. And in the 2 seconds it took to change hands and aim the light at this creature, it had moved 20 feet towards a tree and it was trying to hide behind it. It noticed my beam as I swung it towards it and quickly curled into a cannonball-like posture, balancing on its toes and the balls of its feet, hiding its face and holding perfectly still. I felt an overwhelming urge to stop shining the light on it, fearing it would look up at me with glowing eyes and a strange face, so I continued on my walk. I thought maybe it was a teenager doing a mime, but there was no one taking pictures, and this thing had an oddly pronounced spine and was completely hairless. I went home and searched the internet to see if this was some new trend among kids, painting themselves white, shaving off their hair, rolling around in roadkill, and crawling through the woods at night. I found a picture on YouTube of a rake that a hunter's camera had captured, which looked remarkably like this creature. I have no idea what it was. Perhaps an underground dweller or a ghoul. Ghoul, there it is. Or God knows what. I live in the country suburb of Tampa, Florida called Lithia. If you have any idea what this thing was, please let me know. Now, Lon does say the southwest area of Florida, Tampa and countless counties around it, is ripe with cryptid sightings. What are your thoughts on the crawler humanoids? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they are, but they are creepy as hell. And there's where you find the books published by Lon. He's done more, but these are the ones that are currently published and available. He's got some that are out of print now, but maybe he'll re-release them at some point. But fantastic stuff. That's a great first article. How are we doing for time? We might have time for one more here. Let's go to the next one. This is creepy chicken-clawed humanoid encountered in Alberde. Is that the green? Isn't Verde green in Spanish? Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. All right, here it is. Creepy chicken-clawed humanoid encountered in Alberde, Puerto Rico. The creature was described as tall and thin with a huge egg-shaped head, long pointy ears, and 2 black oval-shaped eyes. So that's the AI rendition of it, and that's creepy as hell. The being was leaning on the windshield and placed a hand on it. So this is the windshield. And it's a great rendering of it, really, with the pointy ears, the big black eyes, and chicken-like clawed hands. Ugh. All right, Alberde, Puerto Rico, late October 1973, 9 p.m. Ana Dominguez and Jose Alamar, accompanied by their daughter and others, were visiting an area where their youngest son, Jose Jr., had mysteriously disappeared 3 months prior. Oh, no. While Jose was in a nearby ranch house, Anna and her daughter stayed in the car, parked near the road, waiting for his return. Suddenly, from the left side of the car, they both heard what they thought was Jose's voice saying loud and clear, "Negra, open the car door, I'm back." The voice repeated the same thing again, and suddenly the girl pointed to something outside of the car. Ana Dominguez then saw a terrifying-looking being standing outside, leaning on the windshield and looking in. The creature was described as tall and thin, with huge egg-shaped head, long pointy ears, and 2 huge black oval eyes. The being was leaning on the windshield and had placed a hand on it. The hand was long and skinny with 3 long, thin fingers. Resembling a chicken claw, no other facial features could be seen since it was dark outside. Thank you, Josh. $10 donation. You guys are so kind. Yes, creepy chicken clawed hands. I need to draw that one. Please do. Send me a picture. Both witnesses, now in a panic, began screaming and honking the car horn. When Mr. Alamar and the others arrived, the strange being had disappeared, and to this day, both mother and daughter are convinced that the voice they heard belonged to Jose Alomar. However, they're not sure if it was audio or audible or telepathic. Yikes. Oh, that's so creepy. That is so, so creepy. Wow. Not what you'd like to see when you're looking out your window. I remember the one time that I've shared this before, so sorry if it's a rerun of one of my anecdotes, but I remember when the one time I ended up going on a Bigfoot expedition, and I wasn't going to stay up in the mountains, but I ended up staying in my car and froze my ass off all night. But I did manage to catch some periods of sleep. But the first thing I would do when I woke up, freezing, was kept my eyes closed going, God, don't let me open my eyes and see a Bigfoot looking in my window. Please don't let me wake up and see that. And I'd do the little crinkly eyes like, and I never did see anything. Thank God. But I definitely wasn't prepared to see that, to wake up seeing this huge, enormous head and looking in at me. I don't know what it would be like to open my eyes and see something like this, which is in many degrees maybe much worse, maybe much better, because being so small and skinny, you think, well, it's probably not going to shred the car. It's maybe not that strong, but you don't know. We just don't know what the hell these things are. But creepy as hell, no doubt. Yikes. So, I don't know. How we doing? That's about it, I think, for the night. So, my eyes are burning like crazy. I got the fan cooking, too, so that doesn't help. Keeps me emotional. Look like I'm crying, but I'm not. It's just skin oils and sweat make me weep. But that's going to about be the journey for tonight. I don't know. I hope you guys had a good time. I, of course, love doing these shows with you guys. And I hope you continue to spread the word and let other people know about these shows and what we're doing here on the portal. It's just an amazing, rare pleasure for me to do these shows. And it's even a bigger pleasure to know that you guys continue to come back and hang out with me while I do them. So thank you all for the love and support and kindness and wonderful encouragement as I'm realizing my dreams. And please watch for the podcast. That'll release on Monday, the brand new episode. This is a gentleman from England who works as a contractor, and some of the weird things he's seen in some of the old buildings over there. He's going to come back again because we started digging into his stories, but we burned up that hour in a hurry. And he's going to have to come back and share the rest of them. So we're going to get into that, but that'll be Monday's podcast episode. Watch for it on all the major platforms, or go to paranormalportal.net if you need more information about that. So I'm always crying. I'm crying with love, Josh, because I love you guys so much, and it's hard to say goodbye after every show. It's not easy on me. I'd just stay with you guys all day if I could. But I'll be back next Wednesday at any rate, so I hope you'll join me. Maybe we'll do a member stream on Tuesday for all you new channel members, all you existing channel members. So watch for that on Tuesday night. Come in and just do an impromptu get-together. Who knows what we'll discuss, but hopefully we'll have a good time doing it. Spend about an hour and a half hanging out. We'll see. At any rate, that's all I got for you tonight. So thank you again, and appreciate it. Thank you, Ghostbox, for all your participation tonight. It's been an interesting journey all over the place. So, but in closing, for all of us here at the Paranormal Portal, which is mostly me, but there's other people involved from Tex and Sheldon and everyone else who knows and loves the show. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back on Wednesday for another live show, so hopefully we'll see you then. It's Wednesday is Bring a Friend night here on the Paranormal Portal, so bring a friend. All right, that's it for me. Good night. I'm going to go de-sweat and cool down, and I'll see you next week. Watch for the podcast Monday.
Hi.
What did it say? It said I. The letter I. Big capital I, like me. You will. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying you will? That's so cool. Very weird. It's been talking quite a bit tonight. That's not usual. And it's kind of relevant, so it seems to make sense to a degree. It says I, but maybe it was trying to say bye. Maybe it was trying to say bye. Yeah, Barbara Moore says bye. Maybe. But the vocabulary printout says I, but it was going for bye. So anyway, I don't say goodbye. I just say See you later. I don't like goodbyes. So until next time, we'll see you here on the Paranormal Portal. Good night, everybody.